want to assemble a task force of the most dangerous people on the planet who I think can do some good.
They're bad guys.
Exactly. And if anything goes wrong, we blame them. We have built-in deniability.
Beginning of this movie, Suicide Squad, we have various governmental agencies planning out how to get rid of people that are in their way. They're considered enemies of America. And what they do is they employ various bad guys, seedy people that have committed many crimes. That way, if they're ever caught, they could just say, we had nothing to do with them, obviously. They're bad guys. They just escaped. And this sort of echoes to the concept that some truthers mentioned, that America has funded terrorist organizations. Various terrorist organizations like ISIS have been funded by the U.S. government, and to do the dirty work, like get rid of certain rulers, political enemies, and governments that they don't like Assad. And a good way to deal with them is to use other bad guys to get rid of them. And of course, if they're caught, you could just say, well, we didn't have anything to do with it. And this is kind of the concept, maybe a predictive programming hidden in plain sight, that the movie starts off with, the premise of the movie. And going through the characters of this movie, we have Enchantress here, who happens to relate by this crescent moon to the false god Isis of Egypt. We have the false Babylonian Trinity represented in Egypt via Isis, Horus, Osiris. The original Babylonian Trinity was Semiramis, Nimrod, Tammuz. Now you might know it through the Bible as Baal instead of Nimrod. And Tammuz was also mentioned in the Bible, Astarte or Astaroth, as the feminine side. So this would be here Isis or Astaroth, or where we get the term Easter from, or Semiramis, the mother of Nimrod and also his wife. It was an incestuous relationship. And it's interesting because the terrorist group ISIS is named after this false god. So, and of course, part of it had to do with various elements of healing with this meaning of this false god. So again, we're talking about the spirit of Isis here. Okay? I thought that was kind of interesting. And of course, this woman here, Harley Quinn, was actually one of the psychiatrists at Arkham Asylum in the Batman series, and that series was actually created by a guy who was doing channeling with demons. And I spoke about this in a previous video on the Batman movie. Here's a guy here. His name's Grant Morrison. He was channeling various beings in another spiritual dimension, and he's getting some of his ideas for Arkham Asylum and other comic books he was working on from these spirits. And so that's a little creepy, as you can imagine, but very few people know about that. And actually, I was going to cover this in a minute here. There's a scene where the Joker's in this position. I think it's around the 4:35. Here we go. I think I passed it. Oh, come on. There you are. Here he is. So you see him here in this position, and it's the Hanged Man position, which is the crucifixion or self-sacrifice position, and it's actually transferring from the physical to the spiritual. So you got as above, so below. So it has to do with self-sacrifice. And of course, it's also a mockery of Christ, in the essence of it being upside down and it being the fool. So that's a little odd. Also, the Joker, you know, he was also covered by Grant Morrison and changed. See, Batman in the Joker, his characters were slanted. Even Superman was slanted and changed, per whatever comic work was being made, depending on who the writer was. And in this case, Grant Morrison's the one who made up Arkham Asylum for Batman. Let's go to the next section here. Takes a second to load. Here we go. We have this guy, El Diablo. Shouldn't take a rocket scientist to figure out who he represents. Obviously the false god of the underworld, right? There actually are many signs that this movie is showing you sort of what our government is doing. Here we have a super soldier with cybernetic implants, okay, as a bad guy. Now, what does this tell you? I mean, obviously, if we have the government making plans on using bad guys to get rid of other bad guys, we have a super soldier with transhuman elements. He's a cold-blooded assassin. Basically, he's been MK Ultra'd. We actually see signs of that in the movie, of people being MK Ultra'd, especially by, there's a scene by the Joker where he's doing it. And then we have a guy with cybernetic implants, a super soldier, who's an assassin who does whatever they ask him to do. He does all the mess. He does all the things that nobody else wants to do. Kills all the people without a conscience. This is kind of where our military is basically telling us they're going. Predictive programming. And again, we have another guy, same kind of thing here. Rick Flag. Okay, again, a bad guy with the same kind of military background. This guy here is supposed to be sort of like the counterpart to the Flash. He's supposed to be really fast. And I don't know exactly how we can tie him into this whole topic, but here we have the sort of the transhumanism again. A man who's half sort of lizard, reptilian type of guy. You could say that they could be making hybrids also with cybernetic implants to be used as soldiers, super soldiers in the future. And actually it could be going on as we speak right now. And of course, making this look innocent. This sort of kind of shows you the whole concept of this movie. Trying to make evil look funny and innocent so we can just enjoy what we're watching while we're being predictively programmed to accept this type of future where you have super soldiers with no conscience going around killing whoever for the government. Even with this scene, you have all these different soldiers with just numbers on them. B-14, B-33. Again, the same concept. Like people are just pawns for the military to use. Easily disposable, not relevant. Your name's not even relevant. You see this B03, B17, B27. And using people that have been MK Ultra'd to advance their plan. Of course, we have here it's sort of a upside down pentagram, although it has an extra point on it, sort of odd. And this is the woman that becomes Isis, the crescent, the moon goddess, where we get the term Easter from, Astarte, or Astaroth in the Bible. And we got Diablo, false god of the underworld, being represented. Of course, sort of using their femininity or sexuality to advance their evil agenda, sort of like a Jezebel. A Alpha 01, see again, same thing. We also have signs of the all-seeing eye. We have here with the mercenary, Will Smith plays one eye, and then we also have these literally one eye guys. They're just like a big eye with guns, and it's sort of a fraction of a second scene. I don't know where I can find that here, but so you have the all-seeing eye and a lot of other things clearly showing that this is Illuminati type of programming. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please share it with others, like and subscribe. Also, check out our forums and make sure to get a copy of the 10 ebook collection on Freemasonry so you can truly understand and know your enemy. There is some seriously twisted stuff going on as of